I need you all just to take a deep breath, let it out. It's all good. My name is Dr. Bruce Locklear. I'm the head of school at New Life Academy, and we just want to say thank y'all so much for being with us tonight. And we're excited to have you for a whole lot of reasons, and you saw just a few tonight. Y'all pray with me, please. Heavenly Father, we're just so honored to be here tonight. And we're just so thankful to be the school that we are right now, Father, focused on kingdom education. And Father, when we have the opportunity to begin to pull families and community and faith together in a strong community, that's what it's all about. And Father, we just pray for the people here tonight that you just give them peace. Father, we know what it's like. I have 2 daughters, and we have done the school thing, and now I have a granddaughter, have 2 of them as a matter of fact, and it's just an exciting but a scary time when we make transitions. I just pray a peace around everybody in this room tonight, and that everybody is able to take a breath and just relax and revel in this moment around what I believe to be a very good decision for their most precious gift, and that is the gift of their child. Be with us tonight. In thy name we pray. Amen. Okay, I got to share a story with y'all. I wear this mask thing, and so we got together as an admin team, and we were having dinner tonight, and I forgot to take my mask off. So I had this egg roll and all this sweet and sour sauce right on my favorite mask. And I don't know if I can wash it. So anyway, I mean what I said about the opportunity to work with your most precious gift, and that is the gift of your child. I have 2 daughters, and they're adults now. They're grown. And my oldest daughter has a 2-year-old granddaughter who is the apple of my eye and just warms my heart. And so I had her yesterday for about 4 hours while she and her husband went out and on a date, and I said, yeah, I'll take her. And so we're in the front yard last night, and she's swinging a golf club, and then she starts singing, "Oh, we're on the boat now, baby," and just no inhibitions and just singing at the top of her lungs. And there was a smile on her face, and there was joy in her heart. We're in the middle of a pandemic, but you know what? God's got it. God has it. And in the middle of everything, there's some goodness. And we have found goodness in so many ways. And so just know when you come into New Life Academy, you're coming into that goodness. Because we're going to love on your child like there is no tomorrow. And we're going to talk about what that looks like tonight for a little bit. And Amy told me I had 7 minutes, and at 6.5 she was going to come up and pull me off the stage, and I think I'm at 7 already, but we're going to keep going for a little bit. So we're going to start out with the mission. And we're just doing a lot of fun and exciting things, but faith-filled and future-ready. When you think about the role of a Christian school in today's society, I can stop talking right now, right there. There's a lot of things going on in our world today that cause us to be the right choice. The right choice for your most precious gift, your child. To be able to bring your child up in a faith-filled foundation, surrounded by love, where we talk about God every day and we pray, it's important. And I cannot emphasize that enough, because you know it, you see it, and you live it every single day. So that faith-filled piece is so important. And we work with students every day on what their spiritual gifting is. And we've started a lot of new programming to help get at that. But we're not just a great Christian school. We're also working to be a great school when it comes to helping your son or daughter be future ready. It doesn't matter if they're in kindergarten or if they're going into 11th grade. We began to talk about what it means to be able to live out life missionally for God in a workplace. One of the things that we started this year was a new program around internships for seniors. And so we sent our seniors out into a workplace. Not every workplace was a Christian workplace. But you know what? They took their faith with them. So that's what we believe in. That's what we stand for as a school. Faith-filled and future-ready. We don't have all the answers, but we are not afraid to pray and seek those answers, and we're not afraid to fail. We're not afraid to fail. Because you know what? You trust us with your child, and we're going to do the very best we can to make this experience exceptional. And when they graduate, they go on to that next phase ready. I was coming in tonight, and it was so hard for me not to run up and just love on a bunch of senior boys. They're out there, and, oh, Doc, how you on? And they're just so excited, and their world stopped in March. But their life didn't stop. They could have complained about not having all this and prom and graduation, but they found the best in it. And they were able to do that because of their experience at New Life Academy. Because some things are more important than the earthly things that we focus on. So that's our mission. When we talk about kingdom education, it's a partnership. It's with family, it's with faith, and it's with education. And all of that occurs in a community that is going to love on you like there is no tomorrow. I came in last year and everybody was talking about, oh, we got such a good community. Oh, and yeah, it can't be that. Well, it's that good. Because once you step into this community and you lean into it, it is the most unbelievable thing that you will ever experience. Our students, your students, are loved on. They're cared for. I have a big background in education. God has allowed me to work in some of the biggest school districts in America and some of the most successful. But my whole definition of success has changed since I've been here. And that definition of success gets back to being able to care for your son and your daughter in everything they do and support them in every way with high expectations. And so when we think about kingdom education, it is taking those three legs of the stool and putting on top of that stool community. And that's who we are as a school. And the final piece that I have is a Christ-centered community. I haven't done a lot of public speaking since COVID. And it's kind of emotional. But to be able to be in this community and navigate what we're managing now as a pandemic, there has been nothing like it. Because you begin with fear-filled. And people look at you like you got all the answers. And it's like, I don't have all the answers. I don't got any answers. I just pray hard and just work hard and listen to a lot of good people around us. But the whole idea of having that Christ-centered community is so important. And when you see this for your sons and daughters, there is a sense of belonging that you will not see anywhere else. I mean, coming from the public schools, we managed bullying. We managed a lot of identity issues and things. And here, we just take your son and daughter where they're at and work with them and grow them as best we can as we are by your side. We're not doing this by ourselves. And so once we get our students in and we allow them to continue to grow and learn and develop in this community, they're able to leave in a manner that is New Life worthy. And so we're excited about your being here, and we're excited about you choosing us as an option for your son or your daughter. And very thankful for that. And the final thing is, at the end of the day, one of the most important things that we can do is to be known by others. not for fame, but for care and nurturance. I'm sorry, this thing, I'm attention deficit, so sometimes things just pop in and it comes out. So I just think about Norm walking into Cheers. Everybody knew his name, Norm! Okay, maybe a bad analogy, but you get the point, right? But we know your student. And being in a high school of 2,800 kids, I couldn't say that about every student that I worked with. But here, we know your student. And we're doing more and more and more to get to know them better and to be able to help them spiritually and academically. And so that's New Life Academy. And that's who we are, and that's why you're here tonight. So I've gone over my 7-minute allotment, and I will not apologize because I'm just happy to see y'all. Okay, so she always does this slide flip to let me know that I've talked too long. Okay. COVID planning has been something that we have really taken seriously. The most important thing that we can do is to do everything we can to create a safe environment. And we have literally gone into every classroom and measured every desk and spaced every desk so that our students are going to be 6 to 8 feet apart in most situations. And so we feel very good about what we're doing. As a fallback plan, we have another site that we're looking at potentially renting if we need to go into that route. What you're seeing right now is a lot of publics are going with that hybrid system because they are so big, they can't manage to social distance their students because of their sheer size. We don't have that problem. We have a church right next door. We have classrooms. We have cafeterias. We've expanded our classrooms all over the place. So please know that we have prayed through this and we have worked through this in the best way possible. And so just know that we have thought about it and we have managed it in every way that we can. It's going to be different. We were reminiscing outside about how much fun it was to start last year. And last year, instead of sitting at a table, at this time you'd have had this little box. You'd been running around the building finding clues and getting to know people. But because of where we're at right now, we have taken every precaution. We have tried to set up hallways of where there's one-way hallway routes. We have tried to manage students to the best of our ability to try to keep them in a maintained environment for as long as we can. So we have read the research, we have understood the governor's orders, and we are managing that and navigating that and creating as safe of an environment as we can. And we feel good about it, and we will just be prayerful about everything that we go through. And the final point is learning. And we understand that we may have to pivot several times over the next several months. So we have a plan A, which is let's show up and let's learn together and let's everybody be in the building. Plan B is if there are cases or your son or daughter encounter COVID, we have a flexible educational model that we can work with your son or daughter from home, still keeping that learning alive. And the final thing is if the governor pulls the plug on the state and says, okay, everything is shut down again, and we are prayerful that we do not ever get back to that. We spent so much time this summer elevating our game in online learning. Teachers worked all summer long on how to do a better job with online learning. And so we feel good with the plans that we have, and we are hopeful and prayerful that we're able to pivot in any way that we can. So that's my portion for tonight. I just want to thank y'all so much for being here, and thank y'all for trusting your children with New Life Academy. We do not ever take that lightly. So thank you, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Amy Clausen, Director of Enrollment, and I know I've worked with so many of you, and I'm going to do my best to remember who you are, but it's really hard when we're all masked. It's amazing. Some of you have come in 2 to 3 times, and I don't even recognize you, so it's going to take a little bit longer this year, and I apologize for that, but I'm going to help walk through some things on where you're going to find information. One of the easiest things is you feel confident when you know where to look for things and where to find things. So we want to walk you through where that will be before each principal gets up and talks a little bit specifically about their area. First off, if you have not downloaded the New Life Academy app, I highly recommend you do that. I don't know about you, but my phone tends to drive every moment of my day. It's the only thing that's with me all the time. So you will find everything you need to do at New Life right on that app. So I really highly recommend it. You'll be able to find all of the portals, the calendars, archives of all of our emails, your lunch accounts, all of the health stuff that we're going to be having to do this year. Absent reporting, we have a new procedure for reporting absences, and we've got to do it through forms, and you'll find that directly in the app. So I really encourage you to download it because it's going to be the easiest thing. If you decide not to download it or you don't have a smartphone, that's not a problem. If you go to the next slide, you can also find it on the website. When you go to the website, you are going to look at the very top in the right and see NLA families. You are an NLA family now, and everything you're going to need will also be there. It's replicated both in the app and the website, so no worries if you're not going to download the app, but I really, really, really highly encourage you to do that. The portals are the next thing you're also going to do. If you recall setting up Veracross once you got logged in or got enrolled here at New Life, Veracross is the internal portion of everything you do. You'll see things very specific to your family. If you log in and look at the calendar, not only do you see the high-level events, but you will see specifically what's coming up for your child. So if and when, I should say when we do field trips, they will show up there, all of those things. You won't see everything in the school, so if you've got a 10th grader, you're not going to see K through 9, but you'll see your child's in there, where the external calendar on the website is just the high-level view. You will also see your health portion, your emergency contacts, all that should be up to date, because if we do have any emergency needs to notify you, whether it be weather or not, we will be texting you through that program. So Veracross is your home base for all of your personal stuff. Weekly emails is the next thing. Your teacher will communicate to you all week long as need be, but as a school, we try to minimize the amount that we will communicate because we know it can get very overwhelming and overloaded fast. I don't know about you, but my inbox just lights up every minute, and so we try to minimize that. So once a week on the weekends, on Saturdays, we will be sending you an email. Please, please, please look through that. You will notice there's things that apply to everybody in the school, and then towards the bottom you will see your division level tabs. If you have a middle schooler, click into that because you will see more details specific to your middle schooler, same with high school. So make sure you look all the way through that to see where everything is. Most likely, if you have a question on where you need to find something, you'll find it, a reminder in the email, or it'll be on the app or on that website or Veracross. Uniforms, always so many questions about uniforms, so I thought I would just touch on it tonight. Monday through Thursday is our standard uniform. So for lower school, you will see it is the green or the white tops. Most of that stuff will come through Donald's. We do have a couple of things here on campus. And then of course, if you are a boy, navy pants is your only option. If you are a girl, you can wear the navy pants or you can wear the jumpers and skirts. Go ahead to the next one. If you are in middle or upper, we have the Donald's polos again, or we have the campus wear here. And you will see that it is all consistent, whether you buy it from Donald's or from here. On the bottom, it's either going to be navy or khaki pants, or if you are a girl, you can wear the skirts and the jumpers. There's also shorts, which the lower school can also wear shorts. Again, they need to be the cotton or the twill. We're not doing any leggings here. So keep that in mind. The next slide. Fridays are our spirit wear days. So you can wear jeans on Fridays, and then any of our New Life spirit wear, and you'll see it looks more like college gear. So Monday through Thursday is the simple logoed uniform. On Fridays, you can dress down a little bit and wear the college type spirit wear gear. Go ahead. We touched on this a little bit, but we do have some procedures we'll be running this year. We do have a full-time nurse and a health aide on campus. We will have screening that you'll need to do before you leave home every day. You'll find that in the app. It'll all be activated by Monday. You'll just answer a couple quick questions, take your student's temperature, and if you hit submit, it'll say, yep, you're good to go, come to school. If you're experiencing anything, it may say, please don't come and call the nurse, okay? So that will be on there every day. And of course, we've increased all of our protocols, and right now, while we're under the mandate, we will be doing masks and social distancing. So that kind of goes through what those questions are when you get to that portion of the app. If you went to the app tonight, you would not find that form there. It's being finished, and it will be there by the time we start school next week. Eagle Kickoff Day is Monday. That is around the corner here. And that is our kind of our business day. When you come on Monday, and you've got a schedule for that, and it'll come out again this weekend as a reminder, you will have your students' pictures taken. You do not have to wear uniforms for this picture. In fact, we would request that you do not, because our school colors are green, and Jostens use a green screen. So if your student shows up in a uniform, they're likely going to be a floating head in their picture. And I'm pretty sure you'll be coming back for retake day. You can bring, if you're in K through 5, you can bring your school supplies. If you're in 6 through 12, Mr. Bronson will talk about that a little bit because we're going to have limited locker use at the beginning of the year, so he'll talk more about what to do with those. If you are in 6 through 12, you'll get your class schedules that day, so you will be able to find each hour what class you're in, where that's located. You'll be able to walk the halls. If you're in K through 5, or actually early ed through 5, you'll be able to go to your classroom and meet your teacher. Teachers will be on campus. For 6th through 12th graders, we will have some student ambassadors here that can maybe walk your student around the building so they get a feel for where they're supposed to go. Go ahead. And I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Washburn, and she's going to chat a little bit about lower school. We will take questions towards the end.
Well, it's so fun to look out and see some of you that I've talked with, and excited to have your students come and join us. So kind of a typical day in the lower school is busy. We love to engage your children in exciting and new ways to learn, and we have core subjects, which are Bible, math, reading, and language arts. We also have a really cool hands-on science curriculum where they're growing things and they're making things that move and spin and learning all about different kinds of things with water and stuff. So it's actually a favorite time of the day. And then we also have really fun history and social studies things where they're learning some of the social aspects of our culture and learning some of the history of our culture and that. So, and that's kind of fun because each grade switches. Well, this year the teacher will be moving. So one teacher in the grade level teaches all the science, and one teacher teaches all the history and social studies. So it's kind of cool for your students. They'll get to know both the teachers, and that's just, and you know how God just always seems to make it that one teacher has a preference to the other, and he always works out like the one is passionate about social studies and the other one's passionate about science, so that's kind of cool. And then we also have specials. There's 5 different specials they go to. We have a wonderful art teacher that's going to be coming into the classroom and doing art with them. We have music, and we have Spanish, PE, and then what we call makerspace, which is kind of a library / STEAM type things. And to go to the makerspace room, that's a kid's delight because it's got all kinds of things to build with and manipulate and work with coding and computers and robotics. I mean, it's just, a lot of times I like to sneak in there and play with the kids too. And that. So then throughout the day we have, or throughout the year we bring in special programs. Like last year it was really fun. At Christmas time we brought in a juggler who was up here, and he was juggling a 9-foot tall ladder, and he had fire and, bowling pins and stuff. And the kids, it was funny, I was sitting with some 4th graders, and one of the little girls, because he was doing the fire and he had a student up, and she was hanging on to me like, oh, what's happening and stuff. So it was really fun. So we're looking at, because with not maybe being out so much for field trips this fall, trying to think, what can we bring in? And we have a wonderful former parent that works with the 3M Wizards, and always comes with a really cool program. So that's something that we do. And then every week, the highlight is chapel. This year our theme is the names of Jesus, and we're going to be talking about, his names that establishes authority. And then once we know that authority, what does he have the authority to do? And then what did he claim when he was here on earth? What did he claim? I am the bread, I am the door, I am the light of the world and stuff. So it'll be exciting to be working through those and bring in local pastors and some of the teachers and different people to come in and speak on that. So that's always kind of a highlight. And then throughout the year, at some point, your child will be recognized for a Christian character that their teacher sees in them. And that's always a special time that we love to be able to highlight that in your child. We also have some music opportunities with chapel. 3rd graders, we learn a hymn a month, and the 3rd graders, we call them the hymnsters. So on their week, they get to be up here on stage and lead worship with the hymn and stuff. And we have plans for that. It's a big stage and social distancing, so we're still hoping to be able, even though we probably all can't gather in here, it will be live streamed to the classrooms, at least at the beginning. But we feel that we can still have that opportunity. Then 4th and 5th grade have a chance to be in Joyful Noisemakers, and there they come early on one of the school mornings, and they get to learn the different worship songs that they get to come and lead the other weeks of chapel. So that's kind of fun. And then we have community groups where we look at how can we serve others. And last year, like at Christmas time, we made ornaments and wrote cards and pictures to send to veterans' homes and some of the senior living areas. We also did a food drive because our church here, New Life, has a food shelf, and we donated some to Woodbury Lutherans and a couple other places and stuff. So, we're trying to get them to think about serving. And then we also highlight missions. So once a quarter we invite a missionary in, or we do something where they're going out and spreading God's word in a global missions type way. So that's kind of fun. So your kids are busy pretty much all day. They're going to come home tired, but hopefully they're going to come home excited about the things that they've learned in that. So then lunch and recess. This year, at the beginning of the year, a little bit different. Lunch is going to be in the classroom, just because the lunchroom is such a big place with so many. We're just trying to cut down on the exposure that they have to other kids. There still will be a hot lunch option and a bag lunch option if that's something that you would like them to engage in. And we'll have a menu out and you can order that, and then we will deliver those. We have warmers and stuff that we can bring the food so it's hot when they get there. And then they'll be in the classroom, but then after that, they'll go out for recess, and I've extended the recess times so that they have a little bit more time to play outside, be in that fresh air, and just have a little more of a break since, they'll be in the classroom just a little bit more this year and stuff. So we've got a whole thing like that. And then what's kind of cool is the teachers have had other opportunities to sign up for recess time throughout the week so that they have a little extra so that we can get them out in the fresh air. And I know there's a lot of plans, like with the science, like, wow, we've got this fabulous campus that God has provided for us, and there's just a lot of learning that can be done outside, and so we're excited to do that. And then what's really cool, this year on our playground, we had a boy in the senior high who was going for his Eagle Scout project, and he built us a Gaga ball court. And so we're excited for the kids to have that. And then our operations manager built a couple box hockey things to add to, I know, gaga ball, what is that? It's basically dodgeball from the knee down in a area, in an octagon shaped type thing. So it's a lot of fun. And the kids are really excited about that. So, and then before and after school care, if needed for you, students can be dropped off as early as 7 in the morning. From 7 to about 7:25, they'll come in and they'll be in our Eagle Court area. Then at 7:25 to 7:30, they'll be going out to the playground. And so then anybody who comes after school or before school from 7:30 on will be out on the playground playing, and then the teachers will meet them out there and bring them in. Because we'll just have one door designated for the lower school to come in and that. So, and then after school care starts right at 3 o'clock. We have plans for, making sure that we're keeping them again in more of a smaller group so that they're not exposed to so many kids, but that goes until 5:30. And then what it is we'll have pickup over here out on the west door. We'll have somebody there when you pull up, they'll just call for your child to come down and meet you. And that there is no charge for the before school care, but there is a fee for the after school care that you will have to sign up for. There'll be a registration that's online, or at Eagle Kickoff, there'll be brochures out for you to do that. So, like Dr. Locklear said, we are so thankful that you are trusting us with your students, or with your children. And it's a privilege for us. And we are excited that our teachers and our staff and our administration, God has gifted them with the ability to engage and teach your children. And we are so excited to start that this year. So excited to see how we can help your child grow the gifts and talents that God has given them, and to be part of that with you. And again, we count that as a privilege and are so thankful that we have that opportunity this year. So we're ready. Actually, my teacher, when I was met with them today, they're like, we just want to get started. So we're very excited to have you here, and thank you.
Couldn't wait to get up here and take off my mask. Isn't that wonderful? Transportation. So I am actually new, so I'm sort of like you here. I'm just a couple weeks ahead of you, but I'm the new middle school and upper school principal for the secondary students. Talking briefly about transportation, getting here in the morning and home after school, we will use, if you're in South Washington County Schools or ISD 833, if you live in that attendance boundary, we have buses that they provide for us. They'll pick up your student and drop them off here, and they'll drop off sort of by the front door where you guys probably all came in. Same thing at the end of the day. Buses will be available. Look carefully at our schedule on our website, because the buses run on ISD 833 schedule. So we're starting this a little bit early. We'll have to make sure we do carpools or drop our students off before those buses start to run. Okay? And then once you get outside 10 miles, let's see, family within 10 miles of your in Veracruz directory. So that is one way you can look for carpools. I know some of you are coming from different areas where you're together, and then you can come down to school together that way. And then when you look, and I think we might have it up here in a little bit later, but there is a carpool lane that'll come in, and if you're upper school, you can drop off here. Lower school and early ed students will drop off in the circle, sort of on the other side of the worship center over here. All right. Oh, here we go, carpool lane. So the carpool lane E, so that's going to be for secondary students, and you'll come in very similar. Those doors are right where we came in, and then the next one you can see the little circle there, and that's where you'll drop off early ed or lower school. So this year we're rolling out a few new things to try to keep us as safe as possible in our new COVID world. And so we have designated certain doors for students at each grade level or each age. So Ms. Washburn actually mentioned that, right? So that green up there And that's actually right by our playground. And so that's where elementary school students or lower school students will enter. Early ed students will be dropped off and picked up. And really that's right behind the sound booth there is where that door is. And then what will happen is they'll come in and they'll meet their teacher, and then their teacher will walk them back to their particular classroom. And then middle school and upper school students will come in the door you guys came in over there. And same thing for leaving the afternoon. All right, so I get to talk just briefly about a typical day. We're talking about getting future ready, and I spent a lot of time in secondary schools, and it's really fun to watch how parents and students start to think about the future, right? What am I gonna do? What do I wanna do? I'm so excited to go to college, or I really can't wait to go to this technical school. So that's what we start to think about. We also transition to moving between each class. And so at first that's a little scary when you're a sixth grader and you have to pack up your stuff and move to that next class. By the time you're in seventh grade and eighth grade, you've got it down, you just transition right to each class. So we'll be doing that. Coming in the morning, and this is a little different this year, if you get here early, we're gonna have our cafeteria and commons area set up. Students can sit 4 at a table, sort of what we're doing here, but they're a little bit bigger lunch tables. Students will be signing in there so we know, hey, which students are hanging out with each other before school. And then at about 7:40, they can go up to their teachers' classrooms. And it's been really fun this week to feel the energy of just teachers back in the building. And it feels like school's getting ready, which I get really excited about, right? Because now it's learning's gonna happen and we're getting ready to learn together, and what exciting thing are we gonna do in class? And so teachers are building that excitement, and we just can't wait to welcome your students here. So 7:40, run up to their classrooms. We are running on one-way hallways, which I'll talk about just briefly. And then you switch between each hour. And so students will go to an English class, they'll go to a Bible class, they'll have their math class, science, and so they'll keep running through those. We have choir during the day, or band, and then of course PE. Then we have electives like outdoor education, which they're really excited because that's a great thing this year. Go outside, right? Socially distanced, you can take your mask off, that's great. So that's sort of what that typical day looks like, and then that happens on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. We run through 7 periods in a day. There's a brief time right after second hour, which we call flex, and that really is an opportunity for students to take a mental break, maybe catch up on a quiz, connect with the teacher, those type of things, okay? This year, they're gonna be staying, not this year, but for the first month or two, until we can change things, they'll be staying in their classroom for that. Typically, they can move throughout the whole building. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, we do a block schedule. And that really gives a lot of our classes the flexibility. So if you have a lab that takes a little longer, so you're in a chemistry lab and you want to do a lab that takes an hour long or an hour and a half long, you can just squeeze that in a block schedule. So we'll go first, second, third, and fourth on Wednesday, and then we come back on Thursday, and we do fifth, a chapel block, and then sixth and seventh to close out the day. So that gives our teachers a lot of flexibility to do that, work on projects that take a little longer, do a deep dive into a discussion. In some ways, that matches more of like a college concept of how you look at doing education, which is neat to see. So this year, a little different for us as we start. We're gonna pause on having students congregate and all hang out at lockers. So have a good backpack, and our teachers are thinking creatively about how to have less materials that they need to cart around their classes at the beginning of the year here. So lockers will not be used, so just make sure you tell your students that. So don't pack in a whole bunch of extra things that they don't need. And then that flex time and lunchtime will be in our classrooms just like we're doing in our lower school for the beginning of the year. And then we are hoping and praying, right, that we can relax a little bit on that, but for now, that's how we're gonna roll with that piece. So let's go to the next slide as well. So here we go for, we're gonna do one-way hallways, and the thinking here is really just to make sure students aren't all congregating at one corner and hanging out, and students are great, and what happens, they hang out and they wanna hug each other and high-five each other and all that great stuff, which we love about being a teenager, but we're trying to sort of just slow that down a little bit, so we're doing one-way hallways. Please encourage your students, right? It's actually great to come in and just know, hey, it's gonna take a little longer to get between each class because we're gonna do everything as a one-way hallway. As you go out, you can peek, and we have big stickers on the floor that have arrows on it. And so We're hoping that'll be really smooth. For the first couple days and weeks, all of our teachers are going to be out saying, hey, yeah, you go this way to Miss Allen's class. Or, yeah, you go this way to Dr. Butler's class. And so they can hopefully figure that out. We're going to be all in it together figuring that piece out. So you can see there, and this is on our website as well if you want to do a deep dive and really try to figure out where you go between each class. It should be within the next couple days that your student's Schoology class should have their room number and their teacher's name, so they're putting those in there as well. So then you can see hour and which number, room number your student is going to be in, and then they can look at that and maybe try to map out how they're going to make it between each class. All right. So this is just second floor. It's hard to see from here if you haven't walked around the building and figured it all out. So just remember, encourage your students that, hey, they're going to have a chance. Everyone's going to be there to help them. I've tried to walk it around a few times so I have it memorized, and it does work. It's great. All right. We're actually really excited about this. We had a lot of teachers work on it, and then our admin team worked on it for quite a bit this summer. What happens in the event that, hey, grandma gets sick, and we don't want to have our son show up to school, right? Because we're just apprehensive about that, right? Or let's say Thanksgiving, or let's say next, September 2nd, you're hanging out with cousin and you find out that your cousin has COVID, right? And how do we respond to that and make sure we can continue learning for your student? So we're calling it Flex Ed. What's going to happen is on our website, you can just log in there. There'll be a form to fill out quickly. And then within 24 hours, we're going to get back to you and say, yes, we're going to enroll your son or daughter in Flex Ed. When your son or daughter does that, they will stay at home for that day, sort of like a sick day. But they're going to be at home. They're going to log in on their computer through Schoology, and they'll be able to click a link and see just what's happening in the classroom. And so we've done a lot of training with our teachers this year. They're going to have a camera in the class, and then they are going to have a mic on, and they're going to conduct the beginning of class both for the students in class and for anyone who happens to be at home for that day. Right? And then that student can stay engaged in that class for the entire hour, or if they check in with the teacher and say, hey, I'm going to be working on this homework sheet, or I'm going to be working on these problem sets, I'm just going to be available, but I don't have to be on the whole time. And so that teacher and that student can work that out. They might come back at the end of class and say, hey, let's check in. Is there any questions? For our labs, our science teachers are looking at saying, hey, we can just put that camera right there, and their lab group can work together. So they're at home just watching what's happening in that lab. And then everything's going to be provided on Schoology. So all their assignments, they can turn things in, and they'll just work through their day just as if they were in school. They just happen to be sitting at home. Okay, and we were really happy about that. And then once that quarantine's done, right, and we know that they're not going to come down with COVID, then they're welcomed right back into the classroom, and hopefully as seamlessly as possible. And if you have questions about that, feel free to email me, and we can or have a conversation and talk about how that works. I think it's going to work really smoothly. That really is for a short-term period in case you have something happening where you need to be quarantined, or it can work for a long period of time, right? So you know that you have an aunt that's going to come and live with you for this time, and you're at a high risk, but you still want to be a part of the community here. This is an option for you to still be engaged here at New Life. Okay. Yes. I apologize. Yeah, that's mainly for 612, right? Because we really feel our 612 students can handle sort of being there engaged from their computer at home. For lower school, there's a different format, and those teachers will find a unique time to connect with your student, right? And so it won't be that they have to log in when second hour starts and third hour starts, because they don't operate that way, but there'll be that chance to connect with their teacher. Ms. Washburn, is it once a day or is it weekly? Great, thanks for that clarification. I sometimes get excited about 6 through 12, and so don't tell my wife, she's in elementary school, so that's good. All right, well, thanks so much. I'm going to pass this off. to talk about Schoology. So here we go.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. My name is Melissa Kalinoff, and I'm the registrar here at New Life Academy. I've emailed many of you with your son or daughter's schedule if you're in upper school. I also help out with some of the technology. And you've heard Schoology mentioned, and that is going to be a big piece whether you're in the building or not in the building. And so we want to make sure that we have a smooth start in getting all of our students logged in properly and you as parents. So I have sent student information, emailed it to many of you. So if you've had a chance to get your son or daughter in, if you're sixth grade and up, that'd be wonderful. But we will have times those first days of school to make sure that they can access their accounts and that they remember their passwords and all that good stuff. You will find in your folders if you are a brand new family. Some of you are returning with a preschool to K, so you might not have this page. But I also included your Schoology code so that you can create an account. When you do that, it attaches you to your child. If you have multiple children, you can add all your children to your account. Now that's a parent account, so you can view anything that your child has there. You can view their assignments. You can view any materials. You can view their grades. Now you just can't do any of their assignments for them. So don't try to do that. We've sometimes had some confusion where a parent's trying to submit something for a student and it won't work that way, so just know that. One thing too I want to show you with this picture is there are two different Schoology login screens. There's the parent screen, which is on the left. That's what it will look like for you. That is just Schoology.com, and that is where parents go. But for students, they need to go to newlifeacademy.schoology.com. If a student tries to log in at Schoology, they get an error. And that is about 90% of the login issues that I hear from kids and parents. That I can't get in. Well, they've just gone to the wrong place. It is a little confusing to some because when you type in our Schoology address, it's a single sign-in with Office 365. So it does look like a Microsoft sign-in screen, and that is correct. That will link them properly. When you set up your account, I think it works best to do it on a browser version, but once you are signed in and created, there is a Schoology app that you can load on your phone that will send you notifications if you like. There's a ton of different settings that you can turn on or off. If you like to get a daily report of your child's work, you can. I prefer a weekly. I set it up for every Friday about 4 o'clock. I get a little alert that tells me how my kids are doing and any messages that came through this week for them. So it's one way. There's you can get messages about people who have commented or things like that. So if you want to look at those notifications, you can choose to get them or not get them. If you are a parent who has used Schoology at another school, please know that you'll have to make a new account with a different email address or talk to your old school and ask them to remove you because Schoology doesn't allow you to have two different schools on the same email address. We will also continue to provide you with support for Schoology. We have different videos for help. You can always email me or ask your child's teacher, and we're happy to help you figure out some of the things. And just know that, again, we want to be ready to hit the ground running with Schoology from the beginning, so if you have a chance to try to get signed in and set up beforehand, that would be great. And then we have a chance, maybe even Monday if you're here on kickoff day and you're having some trouble, I'll be out at table and you can just swing by and I can help you get signed in. So let me know if you need help.
Good evening. I am Jed Mosman. I'm the athletic director here at New Life Academy. And a year ago, I was sitting where you were. We were living in Anoka a little over a year ago. I was teaching up there as my wife was. We have 2 children. And I made the decision and was thankful or able to obtain the job here as the athletic director. And we decided to move to Woodbury and have our kids enroll here after many years in public school. And let me tell you, everything that you've heard up here on the stage today about the care, the community, it's all true. We have been so blessed as a family to have been here over the past year. I've got a daughter that's going to be a junior this year, a son that's going to be a 9th grader, and the experience that they had as students over the past year has just been fantastic. My job tonight is to talk a little about how both your students and you can be involved in our community here. And obviously, as the athletic director, I'm going to make a little bit of a push for sports here. We do have athletics for middle school and up through all 3 seasons. So fall seasons, right now we've got our soccer team and tennis teams going. That's for middle school, 6th grade, all the way up through seniors in high school. Our senior heights program, upper school program, started practice already this week, but we are still taking registrations if your students are interested. If you're transferring from another school, obviously, at the high school level, we need to talk about how that fits with eligibility and so forth, but we'd love to have them be a part of the team. At the middle school level, we'll be starting practice next week during the first week of school for our boys soccer team. So we'd love to have you register for that. You can register right off of our website. During the winter, we offer basketball and cheerleading at the high school and middle school level. And then in the spring, we've got baseball, softball, golf, and track and field, along with some other sports that we offer with co-ops with other schools. Those are the sports I mentioned are the ones that we host here at New Life. If we have athletes that are interested in hockey or downhill skiing or trap shooting, a number of different things, we have co-ops where they work with students from another school to form a team at the high school or middle school level. So we'd love to have them be a part of that. I also athletics isn't the only thing, and when I think of our activities in our community, my thought is always, how can we get kids to help follow their passions? Some kids are passionate about science, and Ms. Washburn talked about the cool things they're doing in elementary school. And some kids are really passionate about social studies or math or whatever it might be. And for those kids that are passionate about athletics or drama or music, that's where I want to help them celebrate that passion and grow the gift that God has given them. And for kids that maybe don't know that they're passionate in that idea yet, I want to help them try something new and provide that opportunity for them. So not only do we have sports, but we've got our theater program, which is fantastic. We've got our music program for band and choir, which is also fantastic, a number of opportunities to get involved there as well. For parents, and like I said, I was sitting right where you were a year ago, kind of wondering, okay, I'm going to work here, but what's my wife, who's new to this community, how's she going to fit in exactly? And for parents, we have a number of ways to get involved as well. It can be as simple as just show up and watch a game. Sit in the stands and enjoy watching our kids play, whether it's a middle school game, whether it's a high school game. You'll sit in the middle, you'll see the other parents around, get a chance to meet people in a really cool way. With all of our athletics, we need volunteer opportunities. If we're hosting a basketball game, we need people to sit at the concession stand. We need people to sit at the admissions table and help sell tickets. We need people to sit and maybe keep score or run the scoreboard. Those are all trained. Don't worry, we're not just going to throw you out there and say, "Hey, keep score." We will train you ahead of time, so we'll give you a little bit of help there. But I know for my wife in particular, that was a great way. She ended up volunteering to run the scoreboard, ended up sitting next to the parents of our daughter's teammates at basketball games, and we built a relationship with some families that way that we maybe wouldn't have gotten to know as well otherwise. So great opportunity to get involved, whether that's sports, whether that's drama, selling tickets before a play, selling concessions there, whatever it might be. Great opportunities to volunteer and get to know other people in the community. Other bigger organizations, we've got our parent-student partnership, our parent-school partnership, PSP is what we call it, who's doing things to support our teachers throughout the year. Today they were here, provided lunch for our teachers as they were working throughout the day at workshop. Just a great opportunity if you kind of have that heart of service and want to show teachers how much you support them. That's a great opportunity to get involved there. And then other things just with our bigger events among the community with our golf tournaments coming up, which helps support variable tuition. That's coming up on the 14th of September. So you could join as a player, get a foursome together and play for the day and also come to the banquet. Lindsay, I expect Simon to be there definitely this year. Or you could volunteer to help out, host a hole, whatever it might be. So a number of opportunities to volunteer that way. Again, I think as I think about athletics and our activities, our drama program, et cetera, it really is about that idea of passion and then connection. How do we get people to follow things that they're passionate about and connect with other people in a way that now we're growing our relationships with each other and growing our relationship with God at the same time. So my email is on our website. You're always welcome to email or call me if you have questions about how to register or what we offer, or our co-op program, whatever it might be. We'd love to have you and your children involved in whatever way that fits you best. So at this time, I'm going to ask the other principals to come back up, Mrs. Washburn, Mr. Bronson, Ms. Clausen as well. We're going to do a little bit of a Q&A because we've thrown a lot of information at you, and hopefully it's all been relevant. We tried to tailor it down as much as we could for you. But do want to make sure that if you have specific questions about what a day may look like or some of our procedures and protocols, that you get those answered as well. So, is there anyone that has questions? Yes, in the back.
Is over, we have to follow that, because to be honest, if we're cited, we could lose thousands of dollars. We can be fined thousands of dollars. So it's interesting, we ran a summer program here, and the kids, you know, once that mandate came in and the kids had to start, they adapted unbelievably. And, you know, they get used to it. And, you know, I have very intuitive teachers. They're going to be able to see that, oh, my kids are kind of ready, fidgety or whatever. Okay, we're going to take a mask break. Or we're going to go outside for a little bit so that they can get their masks off for a while and that. So, anyway. No, kindergarten and early ed do not have to, and, you know, because it's 5 and under, and at the beginning of kindergarten, most kids are 5. So, they will not, yeah. Kindergarten and below will not. Sure. Well, I would bring one. Hopefully, we have ordered one for every student. In fact, our teachers got them. They're the green with the eagle thing on them, and that the, you know, it's a gator, so it's around them so they can't lose it. And they just have to pull it up and down. The teachers have really liked those, and I actually have a couple of those. It's so nice because then I don't have to worry. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've walked out of my office, oh, my mask, and gone back in. But when I have my gator on, I'm like, it's no big deal, I just pull it up. So, yes, we'll be providing one gator. And, you know, if you're looking at getting masks, you might want to head that way, too, and stuff, so.
If you're curious, upper school will also do that, right? So we'll have little breaks as well if you're going to take one outside as much as possible. So we're going to have a rotation where teachers take their classes and teach outside. You know, let's take a choir, and we're going to go sing outside. We're going to space out a little bit and do that. And so they're going to look for opportunities as well. Like, hey, we're all socially distanced today for a little bit. Let's take our mask off for 5 minutes. Just take a breather and put it on. Some of my teachers were talking about doing different rows, right? So, hey, you guys in row 1, you take your mask off for 5 minutes, take a breather, and then we'll swap to row 2. And just we're trying to be creative with that, still give kids that break, and hope they all adjust. But hallways, absolutely have to wear them the whole time. As they come into school or leaving school, absolutely will have them on.
And only as long as the mandate is there. When that's over, then we will reevaluate and change that.
Did you have a question here? You had your hand up for a second, did you?
It would depend on what kind of exposure. So if a student in the class has a family member that's tested positive, the student is out, but not the rest of the class. If the student tests positive, yes, then there would, and that's a little bit different between 6 through 12 because they're really working at, you know, contact tracing and having a very small bubble of kids, so like a whole class wouldn't have. Elementary is going to be a little bit different. But it will be taken on a case-by-case. That's where we have the most incredible nurse this year. She has done incredible research, knows what the CDC, what the Minnesota Department of Health has, and she will be assessing that. She'll be working with you, talking with you, with the teachers and everything, so that it'll be very clear as to what that will be. And then again, that's where the FlexSat will be able to come in for either 10 to 14 days, or if they come up with a negative case, then that changes things too, and stuff. I think it just air travel and, yeah. Right, yeah. Okay,
That's consuming a lot of our time, is that contact tracing
yeah,
right?
right,
So
yeah.
At the secondary level, we had a meeting today, and it was all about how do you do seating charts so we know where students are. So in the event, we know how to go backwards and say, yes, these students were close to each other. So one of the things we have is close contact. So MDH does close contact as within 6 feet or closer for 15 minutes or longer. And so that really gives us some space to say, okay, if I have a student sitting on one side of the classroom and another on another side of the classroom, they're not in close contact. Even if they walk down the hallway together, right? And it's really just about a risk analysis that they're reducing the potential transfer of the virus in the event that they have it. So there's a whole bunch of details about that, but we won't dive into it right now but afterwards I would love to go into all the details if you want to. And you had a question, right? That's a great question. Our choir teacher actually was just talking to me today, and she said, hey, if we do seating charts this way, when they get to choir, right? I mean, not all altos have a last name that starts with A, or, right?
Yeah.
And so Ms. Martinson actually, though, was talking about, hey, I'm actually thinking about how to do choir differently this year. So maybe we'll have just the tenors singing a part, and everyone else is on the, one advantage we have is the choir room's really large.
Yeah.
And so she'll have
Can
all the other
definitely do.
students on the other side for a while, waiting. The tenors will all be together, all spaced out and singing. Or we have this great advantage that we start with beautiful weather in Minnesota for the fall, and so we'll be outside singing. But we're getting creative about how we do that. Also, maybe coming in this space, right? Can you imagine if you have 20 people in your choir, in here, this is a great space to spread out and have some chance to sing. So, great question. Some of my teachers were actually asking that same question as well. Same thing for band, right? So there's some different things. Safe Schools from Minnesota Department of Education, Minnesota Department of Health also says that there's certain things where you can have exceptions with limits. So, excellent, thanks.
And actually, the band teacher has looked up different kinds of masks that different instruments can wear, like a flute and a clarinet and things like that. So, some of those that are maybe a little higher risk instruments, they will be actually masked while they're playing. And so that was kind of cool.
Our athletic director plays the tuba, just so you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. They have tables, but we have done plexiglass dividers. So on the table, it's kind of a crisscross thing. So even though, and then we're limiting the number to 4 instead of normally there's 6 or maybe even 7 or 8. It'll just be 4 kids at each table with the plexiglass in between them and stuff, so that we can still have that safe distance. Plus, fortunately, a lot of our lower school classrooms have alternative seating. So they've got different places that they can take and be distanced over here in this corner, and maybe just outside the hall, in the hall by the door and stuff like that. So again, they've just, and it's funny because at first we thought, the classrooms are just going to look, sterile and whatever, but I've just gone around and they've really gotten creative with how they're decorating and how they're spacing things out and stuff. So I just came in, I'm like, actually kind of like this better than it was last year. So so we've really spent a lot of time thinking about how can we keep your kids safe and still deliver engaging, great education to them.
And I'll just say, it's it's also a partnership with you as parents. And so we're asking parents, all of our parents, every morning, check your kid, right? See how they're doing. If you need to give them Tylenol to pull their fever down, please don't send them to school this year, right? And so that's just really a request. And then we have contactless thermometers for every single teacher now in the building. And so as students come into the classroom, as part of our attendance procedure, we're just checking their temperature. That's just another little safety check for us to say, okay, yep, they're okay. And then if a kid has a fever at that first hour, they immediately transition to our nurse, and then you'll get a call home and say, hey, we're looking at a fever, we'd love to have you check them out. And we understand it might be strep throat, might be something else, but we just need to take those safety precautions for this year. Yeah.
Yes, we'll have brochures that we can hand to you. Every teacher will have them in their classroom. And we probably have some in the great room too. Yes. Actually, I'll connect with you after this, and I'll give you the name of some people to, yep, I've got their number. Oh, and Ms. Klassen just reminded me, there is a volunteer form to fill out on the app if you want to do that too. But if you just see me, I'll get you the information that you need. So. Well, it's interesting, one of our parents, I'm not sure if she's here tonight, actually works for the Minnesota Department of Health as a school liaison, and I asked her that, and she said, no, that's ridiculous to think just because it's their birthday on this particular day, they have to all of a sudden put a mask on. She said, you know, for practicality, kindergarten and below, no mask. Now, if as a parent you are more comfortable if your child wears one, they're certainly welcome to. And that if that would make you more comfortable, we're very fine with that. But yeah, she said that's like even schools that go to 6th grade and there's a difference between 5th grade and say, you know, you have to look at what practicality-wise and logistically makes the most sense. But the kindergartners will get the gaiter too if they have that and they want to. And like I say, as a parent, if you are more comfortable that they do wear it, they're certainly welcome to.
I'm lobbying for that same idea for driver's license. You just have to wait till you're out of high school.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great. Yes.
So we're really close to developing a plan for that because that's a great question. And what we're probably going to do is we have an athletic hallway, and they'll be able to drop off their bags at like distance spaces down that hallway for those athletic pieces, right? So that athletic bag can be dropped there, and they can take their academic bag with them throughout the school day and then come back and pick that up. So, and we're not quite communicating that yet because we have a couple details to figure out, but that's really close to where we're at. And so we're just exploring how that looks, but we're real close, and then we'll just let students know that within that first week about, hey, this is where you can drop that off.
Yes, we have some different options that are going, and we're trying not lockers at the beginning, but if we see that we can bring those back, or it's a little different for lower school because they have a classroom, they can send out 4 kids that are spaced differently, but we just want to start with everybody without lockers, and we're hoping, you know, here at the beginning of the year that they won't need coats and hopefully not snow pants and boots in September. But it is Minnesota, so you never know. But you know, the teachers will have places. I mean, a lot of them, we've been talking about looking at finding hooks for our railing and having them spaced so that they could hang their backpack and coat on the hook along the railing and stuff like that. So we're trying to get very creative about where we're going to put all our things. Mm-hmm. Right. Oh, yeah, and We have very narrow lockers, so. Yeah, so anyway, we have several plans, kind of once we see how it starts and goes, that we can change into and make that available to the kids. So.
Do you mean the clothes for wearing during school or the gym uniforms? Okay, for PE, until those shorts get restocked, they can wear any sort of a jogging pant. Just not a legging for girls, but a jogging pant. It doesn't need to be a New Life jogging pant. The reasons we are using the New Life Academy shorts is just so everybody has a different version of what is tight and what is short. So we use the gym shorts to kind of control that. If you would like, they can just wear any old Nike jogging pant for gym class. Yeah, it's technically supposed to have New Life something on it, but let me get back to you on that, because if they're out of stock, it makes it a little bit challenging. Let me make sure I get your name after so that I can answer that for you. Same thing? Okay. I will find that out for you guys, because you guys both have little ones. Okay. Okay. We'll include that with this weekend's email. We'll write that down as a thing we need to solve if our stock did not come in time.
Yeah, and so Mr. Rupp has a whole plan for how he's having all those kids spaced out differently, so yes. I think that's correct. Do they use a lot? So this is where I'm new and I may not.
So, yes.
Okay, yes.
For 6 through 12, they do change for gym class, and they will have a locker, and Coach Rupp has a plan for that. Elementary do not change. Any more questions? So in your packets tonight is a little booklet that has a lot of what we went over tonight, so that you can take that home and look at it. You'll see the maps, the carpool lanes, all of that, so you can kind of take a look at that. You will find that all on the app, so that if you're driving your kids here next week and you're like, oh, I don't remember, it's right in the app under Reopening Campus and Campus Procedures, so you can find that there. That app really is your friend. All of your back to school information is under one tab, and all of the Reopening Campus, which basically means all the COVID procedures, are under that tab there right on your app. So that contains quite a bit of information that we shared up here tonight. Cell phone policy for 6-12, I'm assuming. Take that.
Yeah, so middle school, basically no cell phones at all. At any time during the day. I think they can use them if they're walking down to lunch or something like that, but we really believe it is disruptive to the learning process, right? High school, they're a little more relaxed on some of that, but not in the classroom and not while they're doing academics. Most teachers have a spot where they've dropped their cell phones. This year, right, as you envision having a mass of all your class going up to one spot to grab their little virus and bacteria tablets, that just doesn't seem like a feasible option. So we're just going to have to be a little, a little trusting and say, hey, we know you have them in your backpack, but we really don't want to see them. Right?
One question I know that we've gotten a lot, and that really relates to the people who have multiple children in multiple divisions, is do I have to go through multiple carpool lanes? No. Choose the carpool lane that is closest to the door of the youngest child that you would like to have the most direct access into the building. drop them all off there, and the others just can walk to the front. So if you've got a middle and high schooler and you have an elementary student, I would use the back carpool lane because that's closest to their door, and the high schooler can walk because it's great practice. Once they're driving, they will park there and walk anyways. So that's what I would recommend. Another great question. So two things. We start a little bit earlier than District 833, and remember they're providing our busing. So at the beginning of every school year, we have a week or so where we don't have the buses, which means the congestion is a little bit heavier out here. We all have to exercise a huge deal of grace and patience. I know as a mom, I always wondered why the person in front of me chose that moment to do their kids' hair and everything else. So it takes a little bit. Our teachers are also filled with a lot of grace those first few days because we know. On top of it, there is a nice, wonderful road construction project that's going to help slow things down a little bit. So I would recommend trying to pull in around 1:45 if you can. I know many of the high schoolers burn in at about 7:52, thinking they can park and get all the way into the door. My daughter was one of them. So they always try to push the limits, but I would say 1:45 for them to have enough time and for you to get through that carpool lane. Same with the end of the day. The buses arrive first. You will all be funneled to the back if you arrive right at 3 because of the buses. Once the buses pull out, then there is more ability to use both carpool lanes.
Yes, so the teachers, the back door here, that's the ramp that comes down from the lower school, they'll come down that with teachers and whatever, and then you'll be in a carpool lane, especially K2, the teachers stay the whole time until they know each child is in that. 3 through 5, we give them a little, more leniency to find their own car, or maybe find siblings and whatever. Especially if they have maybe an older brother or sister that's driving, they meet up with them to go get their car.
What happens if you put that carpool in? I've never done a carpool in like with this many people.
Yeah.
So what happens if you come and I'm looking for my break in and I see one and then okay, and then like 4 months later there's 2 and then okay, where's that middle school? Like how long do you sit there?
Oh, we'll just have you, I mean, it's kind of a flowing thing. So you'll just, exactly. You'll pull up, and then if a couple cars leave in front of you, we'll ask you to just move up so that we don't get stuck behind, whatever. And then, honestly, the kids will figure out, you'll say, find me. And that's where the teachers, we kind of look, we learn the cars and all that kind of stuff. And be like, oh, there's your mom. Or, if you, quick get out and wave and, okay, run, go get in the car. And we're really careful to make sure that they stay on the sidewalk and are not running, crisscross through the circle area. But it flows really quick. I'm amazed at how many cars we can get through in a pretty quick amount of time and stuff. So there's a whole flow to it that works pretty good. And like I say, the kids really get pretty used to finding you and that, so.
I do recommend telling your 6th grader, hey, sorry, you asked the question, right? Okay. So when I had 3 in multiple divisions, there was a spot and I was like, meet me out here. Yep. Yep. And you can park. Yep.
You might get boxed in, and might have to wait a while because there's a long line,
Yeah.
we won't put you back out. So, but I mean, and we have some parents that just choose to come, instead of being here at 3 o'clock, they might come so they're here at 3:10, so that some of that is alleviated.
Not a bad plan. The buses pull out and it's amazing how many people can get out of here in 10 minutes. So you can come and you can be in that mess, or you can come at 3:11 and be out of that mess and probably get through here just as fast.
And if for some reason that you're delayed and aren't here, the teachers don't just leave your kids out there. They'll gather them and they'll take them into the after-school program. And then they'll just or we'll have somebody Yeah. So are you saying if you're an older kid?
We'll walk them before school here and the class. For the after-school care, if plans change, you can sign up later in the year. You can sign up. So there will be availability there as well.
Right, that brochure, you could just let somebody know, I need to register my kids. To be honest, if you think that could be, just sign up because you're not charged unless they come. So we just tell people, if you think that's a possibility, just sign them up at the beginning of the year, then you don't have to worry about it later. And then we have an idea. Yeah.
Yeah, so our plan right now for middle and upper school students is they'll go back down to the cafeteria, and that'll be a space where they can sit and hang out, right? But we're gonna ask them to sign into their table, right? Just a little different, you know, like one more step for them. They just sign into the table, and then they're there until they need to go somewhere else, and that's fine. And if you know you're gonna be really late picking them up, we'll ask them to sit there also, and then just text them after you park and get ready to go. I say after you park because, you know, sometimes texting and driving is...
Well, thank you again for trusting us with your kids and I just want to close with a word of prayer. Precious Heavenly Father, Lord, we just lift you up and we praise you, Lord. You are a God who is in control of all things, no matter what is happening. There is nothing that is not within your knowledge. And Lord, that includes the school year. And Lord, I just pray for peace and strength and a compassion that as we start this and everything is new and different, Lord, that it would go well. Lord, that the students would enjoy being here, that they would learn. And Lord, that you would be with the faculty and staff and administration as we work with these gifts that you've given us. Lord, we just thank you for the commitment of these parents wanting their kids in Christian education. And Lord, the blessings that will come from that and growing them to know you better. And Lord, we just pray now as we leave from this place that you would just give us protection and to bring us back on Monday and have that excitement to get started and ready to get going. So Lord, we thank you again for this evening, and we praise you and we love you, and we give all these things to you in your Son's name. Amen.